Welcome back to Mindset Monday. Hey, you're in for a treat this time, guys. If you've never been to one of these before, this is the show where Chris Lavin, eight-figure entrepreneur, philanthropist, super amazing guy, breaks it down for you. Okay. He just had a whole bunch of people from around the country fly in and spend 4 days with him. And this man was pure fire. Like literally, the folks walked out. I read the feedback surveys and they were circling nines and tens across the board. If you've got a question in your real estate journey or your business journey or your journey in life, this is the spot for it for Chris. Let's bring him on up. Bruce, let's do it, man.
And now, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Presenting the master of the real estate deal and entrepreneur champion of the world, Chris, the negotiator Lavin.
I love it. I love that intro. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I love it. Hey guys, listen. I want to talk about something with you. A lot of people accept status quo or the way things are, or believe that that's just the way it is and we can't change anything. Now, I don't tilt against windmills by any means, but I want to tell you, quite often in life, the choice is yours, whether you see it or believe it or not. Last week, we hosted a live event here at Home Invest headquarters, right down here at the hotel. And I walked in and was talking, and at one point during the event, and we were talking about taxes, and I said, something everybody just assume is fixed. That the IRS calculates your bill, you pay it, and you move on, right? Wrong. Listen, you've got to change the way that formula is drawn. So I looked at the room and I said, we're more than halfway through the tax year. I want you to plan on what you feel the government should take from you. The choice is yours. Let me say that one more time because a lot of people didn't click it first. We're more than halfway through the tax year. I want you to plan on what you feel the government should take from you. The choice is yours. That's the reality. I need you to sit with that for a minute. For most of the people in that room, tax had always been something like that. It just happens to them. It's beyond their control. I'm sure about two things, death and taxes, right? But you just don't accept that and move on, right? You've got to know all the rules of the game you're playing. We're playing the game of taxes. Do you know all the rules? It's nearly impossible to understand the complete tax code. So I'm not asking you to do that, right? But every wealthy person knows, and I know one thing about the truth. Taxes aren't a bill. Taxes are a decision. They vary based on your structure, your strategy, your timing, your entity selections, and the experts you hire. You don't have to give the IRS more than they're due, but you do have to understand the rules and play by them so you don't get in trouble. The person who pays 40% and the person who ends up paying 10%, they're not in different tax brackets necessarily. The difference in decision brackets, how you invest your money, what you do. The principle is way bigger than just taxes. Almost everything in your life you think is fixed is actually a choice. It's actually a choice. And you're already making the choice. You're just doing it on a default. What does that include? Your salary and income, your day-to-day calendar, the people you connect with, the people you hang out with, the people who influence your decisions, the people you go to for advice. Each of these things is a choice you are making. And you're responding to the feedback or the response to those situations. But remember, at the end of the day, you created those situations by deciding who those people are, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Are you choosing to invest in yourself? At the end of the day, are you going home, putting your feet up on your Barca lounger? And yes, I'm dating myself when I say that. Grab a beer and sit back and watch TV for the rest of the day. Or do you go home at the end of the day, invest in a little bit of learning? I mean, the internet is everywhere. You can learn anytime, anywhere, doing anything, including sitting on the toilet. You can pick up a computer or an iPad or your phone and learn something rather than scrolling on TikTok. So, do you know Viktor Frankl? He wrote an amazing book, and I love this guy. He was a Jewish psychiatrist in Austria during World War II. The Nazis sent him to Auschwitz. He watched them murder his wife, his parents, and his brother. He was starved, beaten, and humiliated for years in the worst place on the earth. In the middle of that hell, he made a discovery that has helped millions of people since. He realized that even in a concentration camp, the gods could take his freedom, his family, his food, his dignity. There's only one thing they could never take: his ability to choose how he responded, right? He wrote this line, and I want you to really process this. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing: the last of the human freedoms to choose one attitude in any given set of circumstances, right? Now, I'm comparing anything you or I face today. I'm not comparing anything that you and I have faced today to what Frankel faced by any means. Nothing compares to that horror. But the principle he discovered applies to every one of us, right? If he could find agency in Auschwitz, you can find it in whatever circumstance you're in right now. The market didn't choose your day, you did. The tax bill isn't happening to you, you're choosing it. The deal flow you're getting isn't the deal flow that's out there. It's the deal flow you are chasing. Almost everything you're accepting is inevitable is almost everything. First day with these lips, I'm sorry. Almost everything you're accepting as inevitable is a choice you stop making on purpose. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with is this: the people who build real wealth don't work forward from the world. They work backward from the outcome. They set a goal, then figure out what steps it's going to take to get to that goal, rather than just hum-de-dum through life on the path that's been laid out before them. What do I want my tax bill to be? Work backward. I want it to be zero, so what do I have to do that? What do I want my week to look like? Work backward. Do I want to be at the end of the week and have learned 3 new facts or 3 new principles that help me forward in this journal? What do I want my stock portfolio to look like in 3 years? Same principle. What are the numbers I want them to be? What do I have? And what steps do I need to take to get there? The person who lives forward accepts whatever shows up. The person who lives backwards builds what they want with a goal and a purpose. And it all starts with one moment of honesty and how much agency you have. More than you've been using. I guarantee it. Remember that the next time you're scrolling on TikTok or you fall into a Facebook hole, what you could have done with that last 15, 20 minutes. I literally am always reading something that helps me constantly. It's crazy. So you've got to change the direction of your thinking, and you change what your life produces, right? And this is even true in Scripture. I've set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life. And that was from Deuteronomy 30:19. And what I want you to walk away from this Mindset Monday is this: almost everything you're accepting as inevitable is a choice you stop making on purpose. You can start choosing again today. Find one thing you've been accepting. Ask yourself, what do I want this to look like? And then reverse engineer it and change your future by putting a label on it and making steps towards that future rather than just accepting what life has handed you. What do they say? When life hands you lemons, make lemonades? Well, plan the lemonade stand and how you're going to make money, and then franchise it, and then work forward towards that. Thank you all for listening.
Beautiful, Chris. Hey, you got time for a couple questions?
Yeah, hit me, man.
All right, guys, this is your chance. Put your questions in the chat. I will read them off anonymously, so we'll keep your name private. But go ahead, put your question in the chat, and we'll read it off to Chris. Chris, first one. I don't have a background in multifamily real estate or finance. Why would a broker or a seller take me seriously?
Because there's a couple ways to do that, right? When I got into multifamily real estate, I walked into it with other experiences in life, and I brought those experiences forward. And let's say that, I don't know, you were a great tight end on the football team in high school. I'm just pulling something out of the air. You can literally take that focus and that experience forward and utilize it as part of your conversation with the broker. Back in high school when I played ball, I became the number one linebacker or the number one tight end because of my dedication and my persistence on making it happen. That's the same thing I'm doing in real estate. I'm using my persistence and I'm just keep moving forward so that I don't fail and we both succeed. Very easy to do.
Chris, you got a property submitted to you. It's 183 units in North Little Rock, Arkansas. It was built in 71. Part of it in the second phase was built in 81. The NOI, it says 73,360, and they're asking 7.5 million. Would you go after this?
No. Did you say the NOI is 73,000?
They may be mistyping that, but 73,360 is what they typed.
Yeah, no. At 73,000, that's worth about 730,000, another 420. That's worth like 1 point something million, 1.1 million. No, I'd run from that. I not only would I run from that, I'd run like my pants are on fire. No, no way.
Okay. Next one. What if I put time and effort into multifamily, but I never close a single deal?
Then you're doing something wrong. Listen, okay, so back to what I was just talking about. Set a goal. I want to close 2 deals by the end of the year. Now, what do I have to do to do that? Well, we know, based on our experience, that for every 30 LOI submissions, it takes 30 LOI submissions to get one conversation going to move towards a real deal negotiation. So I would make a plan as to how many LOIs am I gonna put out in a week, and that will dictate the amount of effort and how much time it will be before you got your first deal negotiation. So set the goal. I'm gonna close 2 deals by the end of the year, and then work backwards to make a plan. There should be no way that you don't close a deal if you do this with Home Invest. It's super easy.
Cool. Chris, last one for today, and then I'll let you wrap up wherever you'd like. How do I overcome the fear of making a costly mistake on my first property?
Say that one more time.
How do I overcome the fear of making a costly mistake on my first property?
That's super simple. Partner with somebody that's already done it. Find a Sherpa or somebody to lead you down the path that has been successful at those transactions. Find a way to partner with those people so you don't make those mistakes. Because when you get into something new, whenever I get into something new, I always go find an expert and pay them or partner with them or give them something to work with me so that I don't make the mistakes that I don't even know, right? There are questions sometimes we don't even know to ask. And I think that that's the safest way to keep that from happening. And listen, I've been very successful in multifamily real estate from my very first transaction. And it's all because I did my homework, I put my head down, and I did the work. So God will move mountains, absolutely move mountains, but you better show up with a shovel to make the work happen, right? And sometimes God moves mountains slowly, one rock at a time. But at the end of the day, I know that if you seek his will for your life, you will find the same thing that I found. And that is the peace and the joy and the faith and the strength and the courage to put one foot in front of the other. And if you're doing multifamily real estate, it better be as a result of you asking God if that's what he wanted you to do. If it is, then don't stop. Be relentless. That's what I know God wants us to do, is when he's shared his will with us, he wants us to pursue it with vigor. So I know that God has done amazing things in my life, and I know he will do amazing things in your life if you just follow his will for you and accept the love that he has for you, putting one foot in front of the other. God bless y'all. See you next week. Thank you.